Good morning, Citizen Academy. My name is Danny Ron. I'm co-compliance manager for the city of Deltona. Suzette, she could not make it this morning. She had a family emergency. She asked me to step in, introduce our first department for the day, which will be Parks and Rec. The director here is Mark Manning, and he's going to give you a display and kind of some other things going on here. At any time you would like to get some water, I see a cooler full of cold water back there. We appreciate Parks and Rec doing that for us. It is a warm day out there. We want to stay refreshed and cool, okay, as much as possible as today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Danny. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the crown jewel of the city. As Danny said, my name is Mark Manning. I'm the Parks and Recreation Director. I know you guys have been in this academy for about 4 weeks now. Most of it's been at City Hall, and you've been doing classroom instruction. I spoke with Professor Suzette, and I didn't think that was appropriate to do classroom instruction out here. You guys need to come out here and see what Parks and Recreation does. It's very hot out here right now. It's kind of sticky. We're under a shade canopy, so you can imagine being out on the fields and what happens there. Now, today, we have 3 departments in Parks and Recreation. We have the Turf Division, which is Tom's guys that take care of these fields, all the playing fields. We have the Maintenance Division, which is Sean's guys that take care of all the other parks. And the other division we have is Recreation. Unfortunately, we're in the middle of summer. We have summer camp going on right now. So all of our recreation staff is at summer camp, and today is a field trip day. I tried to get it to where I could take you guys on a field trip, but I was vetoed by the higher-ups. So before I get started with Tom, I want to tell you a couple things. Some of the questions I get all the time out here, there's 3 questions I get about Dewey Boster. You guys probably have those questions yourself. Number 1, how can I get grass like this? Well, you can. It's expensive. Tom will tell you the tricks of the trade on that. It is high maintenance. We spend a lot of time out here, a lot of man hours. It's your tax dollars at work. And this complex, believe it or not, we call it the crown jewel. Why do we call it the crown jewel? Because this complex is known internationally. It's not known just in this regional area. It's not known statewide. It's not known throughout the United States. It's known internationally. Why do I say that? Soccer is the most popular sport in the world. We've had multiple MLS teams, which is Major League Soccer here in the United States, the Philadelphia Union, Orlando City, Minnesota United have trained at this complex. As part of that training, they provide camps for our youth soccer program for the kids to interact with the pros. It's an invaluable experience. Second, we've also had international teams out here. Does anybody know what the #1 soccer league in the world is? Have you ever heard of the English Premier League? We had a team from the English Premier League train out here for 10 days back in 2012. It doesn't get any higher than that. So that's why we consider this to be the crown jewel. The other question we get, how do you maintain these fields? How much water do you use on these fields? Everybody thinks that we constantly use groundwater. Groundwater is one of our sources, but it's not our primary source. Our primary source of water comes from the northeast corner of the park where you came in earlier. That's groundwater on the Clearwater Lake. That's our primary source. Our secondary source, which we added a few years ago, is reclaimed water, which we partner with the water department, and we have a reclaimed water system that irrigates eastern fields. Our third source does come from our pump that we have over there, but we try to minimize that. So we just had our permit with St. John's. We are governed by St. John's with a permit for this facility. We just had it renewed for another 20 years. That's a very comprehensive, thorough process. They come out here and do all kinds of inspections. They were so pleased with what we've done here with the reclaimed water, the groundwater, and the minimal use, the surface water, and the minimal use of the groundwater, that we've lowered our tier from one of the highest levels to one of the lowest levels because we minimize the use of groundwater as much as possible. As Tom will tell you, a quarter or a half inch of rain a day keeps the turf doctor away, and that's what we call Tom. During the summer months, there are weeks where we don't even run anything out here because of the rain. Example, last week it had rained every day. sometimes twice a day. I think we had one day at 3 inches of rain out here, Tom.
Yes.
Tom was dancing up a storm. So those are the reasons why we consider this a crown jewel. Now, Tom's going to give you some tricks of the trade on some of the machine and equipment you see here. Not only does Tom's team take care of these fields, he takes care of the fields at the baseball complex up at the front. He takes care of the baseball fields over at Van Park. He takes care of the sports field at West Cryle, which is our second busiest facility. And he also takes care of our softball facility at DuPont Lakes. Oh, Dwight Hawkins is the other one as well. Yes, thank you. If you see Daryl out there, he's a member of Tom's team. You see a machine out there. I don't know if you guys can see it if you want to stand up or not. That is the Parks and Recreation robot. We call that machine DB1. What does DB1 do? DB1 provides an invaluable service because, as you can see, what is it doing right now? It is lining a soccer field for us. And you say, oh, wow, a robot does that. What's the difference between a robot and the human doing it? Example, regulation soccer field takes 2 people, an hour and a half on a good day. If you're out in 90-degree weather like we are now and the sun's beating down on you and you have 6 fields, because we have 6 regulation soccer fields here, an hour and a half for 2 people, that's a full day for 2 people. How long do you think it takes DB1 to line a soccer field? Take a guess.
1 minute.
I'm sorry?
20?
You're close. Less than 30 minutes.
Okay.
Less than 30 minutes. So, if he starts at 8 o'clock, by noon, he's got all 6 fields lined. If you're a baseball fan, are there any baseball fans here? Have you ever heard the phrase, no runs, drips, or errors when it comes to baseball? Makes perfect lines every time. As Tom will tell you, by the 3rd or 4th field, the lines aren't so straight. They're a little wiggly. And of course, the kids complain that they don't have perfect lines. So that's one of the reasons why we bought that machine. Now, I'm going to bring Tom up here, Tom Alessi. He's our turf guru. He's been with the city since 2009. He has probably over 25 years of experience in turf management. He's going to show you the tricks of the trade. People want to know what kind of grass this is. He's going to tell you what kind of grass this is, how they maintain this grass. He's also going to tell you what they do in the wintertime, because in the wintertime we transition from the grass you see now to a different grass, and there's a different maintenance schedule. So please, everybody, welcome Tom.
I can't do this without my group here, so I'm going to introduce Lorenzo. He's on my spray rig. Daryl's doing the robot. He's got it easy some days not so much. Depends on the GPS. And then Don is here.
Hold the mic up.
Sorry,
there you go.
not
Thank
used
you.
to this. Don is here. She'll be on the slicer. And then I've got Shane over here. He'll be on the roller. All these pieces of equipment don't get used every day, not going to lie, but we use them a lot. Roller gets used twice a year, beginning of every season. Everything gets flattened out. It's spray, that gets used a lot. That's fertilizers, herbicides, pesticides, anything that we need sprayed, that's what that does. Slicer gets used as needed on weak areas. Basically, Bermuda is what you're seeing right now, 419 Bermuda. It grows on the top surface. The roots come down as the stolons kind of poke into the ground. If you slice it, you can double the amount of grass because you've got 2 ends now growing out. So we'll slice it on the weak areas. In between seasons, we usually don't do it during season because it leaves a brown line for about a week. Got 2 different types of mowers. We've got a reel mower. The 2 right here are reel mowers. Notice they don't have chutes like your normal home grass mower. Our rotary mower is right here. Also, Sean's crew, the turf crew, the maintenance crew has rotary mowers. But their zero turn a little bit quicker than ours. Ours are going slower. We're trying to make a nice looking field. I don't make this place look good. I really don't. All I do is plant fertilizer and pray for rain. That's the 2 big things in yard maintenance. Mowing it too low, not good. We mow a lot and we mow very low. That's why we fertilize 4 times a year. Winter, spring, summer, fall. Our winter, because we change grass to ryegrass. Ryegrass requires a lot more water than Bermuda does. Ryegrass also doesn't like heat. So probably around April, you'll start seeing the rye turning brown. That's when the Bermuda kicks in. Somewhere around 60-degree nighttime temperature, Bermuda starts growing. And that's what you want, 24-hour growth. We mow twice a week, Mondays and Fridays. Mondays to clean up after the weekend, Fridays so they have nice fields for their games on the weekend. And then if the grass is growing like now, we might have to throw in a Wednesday because you really don't want to cut too much of your top off or you brown out your grass. I'm going to let Lorenzo go ahead and start. This is the spray rig in action, pretty new. Got it just before COVID. One of the only things we've got since COVID, except for one of our workmen. He's just going to make a couple passes. This thing holds 300 gallons of water, which covers about 7.5 acres. So this complex right here is 29 acres. You throw in the baseball fields, we're up to about 31 acres. The entire complex is 40 acres. That includes the trails, which we maintain, and the parking lots and things like that, that are not the parking lots, the retention ponds. He's just going to make a couple passes. The width on that, the height is about 22 inches. I believe the width is about 15. He's good. They can see it. Like I said, 7.5 acres. Then he refills till he's all done. We have a smaller one that was a 13. Right now it's being worked on. As they get older, fertilizers kind of take out your spray rigs. That one only sprays about 5 acres. This is a little bit bigger. Notice it's low to ground because the booms have to stay at a certain height to get the spread on the, basically those are called fans. This would take him in anywhere from 5 to 7 hours, depending on what he's got to put out and what he's going to be doing. He's spraying about 40 acres a minute, or 40 gallons an acre, sorry. It takes about 40 minutes to get one tank empty, just the way we kind of plan it for hours-wise. Up next, the robot, by the way, has already done the outer square. It's now probably working on the ends. Next thing up is the slicer. Again, we did this in April. Yeah, he's going to come around, and then she'll go right in behind him. She's going to make a couple passes. It's just basically going to take a vertical slice right into the grass to cut it in half. Oh, yeah, just for your benefit, we're spraying water. We didn't put anything in it. We didn't want any drift, nothing like that. We would not harm anybody. When people are around, we know to stay away from them. But that's all he's spraying is water. Usually he makes a frame, and then he'll fill in the frame with what he's got. He's done it so much, he knows where each stop's going to be. She's lifting up the back of the slicer so that it actually touched the ground. You can't leave it sink or it'll sink into the ground and it can slice pipes.
Is this sprayer GPS system?
Nope, it's all the electronics in the front tells him what how his rate. So if it starts dropping, he knows he's getting less than 40 acres. Now he can bump that up with a little bit of hand controls, but 40 gallons an acre is what we put in chemical-wise. So if he's down at 38, he's going to have way more than he needs. You say, well, 38, why don't you do 38? Well, we could, but then you got to adjust your rate of your chemical to 38. 40 is real easy math-wise. That's the plain and simple truth. You can get anything you want, but 40 seems to be the best for us. Go ahead, slice it up. It is going to leave damage, so if you come in probably 4th of July, you'll see little brown slices. I don't worry about it. We'll fertilize it, it'll be gone in a week. That's all right. Just go a couple passes. You'll be She wants me to let you know she's going to move. All we are caring about is that slice. It don't matter if it's a slow slice or a fast slice. Now, if you notice him, he's going slow. That is a set speed, so it's a consistent rate. When you spray anything, even at home you're spraying Roundup, you really just want to have it just to drift over it. You don't need to soak it with the chemicals. As you see the wheel spinning, that's putting the slice in. She's going to have to turn around. Notice when they're turning, there's very rarely a time they whip it around because you'll leave marks in the turf. She'll do like we call it a K-turn. She'll go out and then kind of hang over, back up, and then go around. It takes a while. If you're doing slicing, that's all day, and it's boring as heck and it's hot. There's no roof for that. And usually we do not go this direction. We want to go as long as we can, so we'll take everything the length of the field. As she's done, the next thing we would do, that machine also does coring, which is every year to change over grass, to speed it up, we try to dry it out. Rye likes water. You poke the holes in it, loosen the turf, you put sand in it, the roots start growing through the sand. It's called top dressing. We do it twice a year, but one time is with cores. Am I missing anything on that, Shane? Sean? I think I got it. Cores are basically about 3/4 inch holes, goes down about 3 inches, and then we fill it in with sand. Shane is on the roller. Usually, after we loosen everything up, people still like to play. If the ground's soft and it starts tearing, we'll put the roller on it, he'll flatten it out. Shane hit it. That's heavy, that's why we didn't park it on the grass. If it would have just sat there, it would have started sinking. We are built on sugar sand. I don't know if you know Deltona. Everything here is sugar sand. Water doesn't stay here much. Mark was talking about how much water we're using. St. John's allows us 36 million gallons out of all 3 sources. We probably use about 28 to 29 million gallons. We're not even close to what we're allowed to take out. Yeah. Every night we water, you're looking at about 150,000 gallons. And that's what they base 150 times 365. That's what our allotment is. We're not near that. Now this summer, if it stays this hot, you'll see us twice a day. The grass doesn't like extreme heat. Loud, boring, and hot. That's all I can say about that machine. I get on it, I can go for about an hour, and then I gotta pass. It just, my head starts shaking. That's what it is. That little vibration, all that is vibrating the soil to firm it up. People want to play on firm. You can go to that one. Can you go on the little, the smaller one of the three gang? The 2 mowers are going on. They're set. The one she is on is set at 7/8 of an inch. Every one of those reels will mow the same height. He's on the smaller one. That goes usually to the baseball fields. It's a little bit more mobile. That's set at 1 1/8 inch. The baseball fields don't need to be as low as soccer fields. They're all diesel, all run hydraulically. Their goal is to make sure absolutely nothing leaks. Oil is not good to any grass. Gas is not good to any grass. Basically, I have 2 of the big mowers she's sitting on. One of them's got a hydraulic leak. If you notice, we mowed Monday. On Friday, it would be pretty thick. As you came in, there's some areas that are seed heading. We really don't want seed heads because it leaves a mess on the fields. He's on the smaller one. That one's kind of fancy. They bought us a nice fancy one. It slides the reels left and right so you can get closer in between things. That one's got set right reels. And if you notice, she kind of cleaned up that slicing, but usually it's the roller. He's not cutting as much. He's at 1 1/8 inch. But he is cutting some so that you can tell we had some growth. In the winter, we change the height, so all of it's at 1 1/8 inch, and the reason is rye doesn't like to be cut tight. Bermuda can go, you can go like golf course greens on this if you wanted. Just a lot of mowing. I've got all my equipment that's out that we normally have to use. We're not gonna bring out the backhoe, I have nothing to dig, but everybody on my crew can do everything here. So, including me. I know it may not seem like it, but, and I believe the paint machine is about 3/4 of the way done. It's got to do this and it'll be finished. Mr. Manning, do you need me to talk any more than I've already done for the year?
Does anyone have any questions for Tom?
Oh. Yes.
You want to use the robot with the lines. Could it do other things?
It can do a lot of things. The nice thing about that robot, we program it once. We did it at the beginning of the year. From now on, we don't have to do it. I send one guy out, or we have somebody watch it because sometimes clogs and GPS sometimes messes you up too. But that was programmed last March. From now, any field that you want, you see different size fields, they're all programmed in. It's just a time consuming getting the paint.
Just one robot?
Just one.
I think I've seen it in West Crown.
We carry it to West Crowd because he's got flag football going on, so we'll do it then. And then sometimes we do the baseball fields, but we find that we can do the walking of the baseball. It's 2 lines.
Did you
To
tell them that's
get
what
the-
takes the longest too, is programming each field, because everybody has a different size,
So
so it takes time to program. But once it's programmed, it's a quick thing.
anybody, anything? Good, good.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom. And don't let Tom's a very modest guy. They do a lot of hard work out here. This facility also does most of our major special events. We have July 4th coming up next Tuesday night. I'm sure many of you have been out here for that. We also have our Latin Fest, our Halloween event, Bacon and Brew. So this facility gets a lot of foot traffic throughout the year. So please, Tom's very modest in what he does and his team, but as you can see, the end results are unquestionably professional grade. So that takes care of the turf division. The next one is Sean Smith. I'm gonna bring him up. He's our park maintenance supervisor. He's responsible for all the other parks, the maintenance of pavilions, restrooms, playgrounds. And when I say playgrounds, pay very close attention when he talks about playgrounds, because we are gonna do a class assignment. After he's done, it's going to involve a playground. So pay very close attention when he talks about the maintenance and checking of playgrounds. So I'm going to turn it over to Sean. Again, if you guys need water, just raise your hand. We have plenty of water in the cooler. Also have some little candy snacks if you want that as well. But please welcome Sean Smith.
Thank you. My name is Sean Smith. I came from Winter Park. I did 27 years on a golf course similar to this turf here. I came over here. We took the opportunity. We're trying to straighten out all of these parks. It's been many, many years. I was a Deltona resident myself for 7 years. I bought a house here, my first house in '91, over there off of Elkham and Howland. So it was county back then. You did not have a lot of services. It has changed drastically since I've been around here in the last 20 years. You guys have a lot more now than you did before. We maintain all of your bathrooms, all of your parks, all of the grasses. We do the tree work. We take care of the plumbing, small scale. If we have to do permits, we'll usually get a contractor for that. Electrical, same thing, you know, small scale stuff. We can change plugs out, stuff like that. We do a lot more than just mow grass. That is a very small part of what we do, quite honestly. It's summertime now. You guys know summertime, the kids are off. They're very bored. They like to go out and do things in the parks. Our job,
Monday mornings?
Monday mornings, yes, exactly. I don't know what the obsession is here with the artwork, but some of them are either going to be doctors or physicians of some kind because they have an obsession with anatomy. So we go out and we take care of all that before you guys get up and go out there and check the parks out. That stuff's all usually gone because we've already been out there by 6, 7 a.m. We've gone out there, we've stripped all that stuff off, we've cleaned it all up. What needs to be repainted is repainted. Like I said, every couple of years we'll go around, we'll pressure wash every bathroom. We're in the process of that right now. We'll strip it and we'll repaint everything. So because after a while the buildup from us taking the nastiness off, it just gets faded. So we clean that up. The trails, all the trails around the parks, if you've ever been out to skate park or Brewster, we have a lot of nature trails. We maintain all of that. We trim all the trees back. Keysville Dog Park, if you've ever been over there, we take care of all that trail. We take care of all that. We have 25 parks that we maintain, plus sheriff station and five fire departments. So the grounds, we don't do the fires. We just do the grounds and city hall's maintenance. So if they have a drywall knocked hole, somebody's moving in furniture, they knock a hole in the drywall, that's us. We come in there, we cut that stuff out, we put it all in. Roof leaks on a pavilion, that's us. We come in, we take care of the roof. We've actually done some fresh metal roofs on a couple of these just because the older roofs at that point they're starting to dry rot. It's time to replace them and redo them. So we'll go out there and we'll do that. We have bucket trucks. Our bucket truck is out there. I didn't want to bring it in here. I didn't have the heart to do it on Tom's turf. It's parked outside. We do tree work and all that. This is our zero turn. Again, I'm not going to fire that up because I don't have the heart to do that on Tom's turf. That's a little bit aggressive. This is made for more of Bahia grasses like that. It's not made for Bermuda. It doesn't cut that low. This requires a lot more maintenance and a lot more money to keep up at this scale. We do, what else? What am I missing? Special events. We do a lot of special events. Your 4th of July event, all my men will be out here. We're the guys helping put the fences up with Tom's crew. We're the guys, when we do the Halloween thing, if the Halloween thing comes up and we end up doing a trail, that's us. We put that trail together. A lot of my guys, don't tell the kids, they're the guys in the costumes. All right? That's our secret. Christmas time. The big parade we do some years, we'll do the parade. We have a float in that parade. We build that float. We paint it. We build it from scratch. We usually paint the trailer before we ever even start that. Light up City Hall. There's another one. All those decorations, the music that dances outside, that's us. I could not do this without the help of these guys. These guys are the ones that are really doing a lot of the work. That's Dave back there. This is Sean Tillman, and there's about 10 more of them on a good week when everybody's here and nobody's sick or out. We maintain a lot of stuff. Baseball fields, around the baseball fields over here at Dewey, we'll go around and like the net over some of the fields. We just redid the one out at DuPont, the Wendy's net. That was a huge net. That was a huge undertaking getting that done. But we made it happen. We bought pulleys, we pulled it up, we got it stretched, and it looked beautiful. Eventually a homeless guy's going to cut it, but it looks great now. So, I enjoy this work. Like I said, I did turf work for many years before I came here at Winter Park. I don't know if you've ever been down there, that little 9-hole course. I worked on that course for many years. This is a good time. I enjoy what I do, and these guys enjoy what they do. It's really hot out there. It's really hard work. I appreciate what they do. Anything else? I ran a little short there, didn't I? I think I covered the basic basis. Yeah, everything we do, everything you do from the meter box into the park, that's us. We take care of that. If a water line breaks inside and it's irrigation, that's us. We take care of that. We install irrigation. We've repaired most of the irrigation out at Veterans Memorial. That's a new pavilion. If you haven't been out there, go out there and take a look at that. That's beautiful. They did a really good job out there. Anything else? Am I on the playground? Oh, the playgrounds. Yes. There'll be a test at the end of this, by the way. I'm just going to tell you that. So pay attention. We do all the playgrounds. We go around and inspect them every week. When we do the trash, we go around, everybody goes around and checks those playgrounds out. Now, some of those might be loose. We have to tighten those. There may or may not be some loose ones over there at that playground. I'll let Mark fill in the rest of that. Yeah, we take off all the graffiti. We take care of all the sales. The PIP material on the ground, we take care of that. As a matter of fact, next week when the kids, he mentioned the summer programs, the kids will be gone from Harris-Saxon. When they leave from Harris-Saxon, we're going out there to repair all the PIP because you can't touch that stuff. If you put it down and they put their hand in it, their hand's there forever. So it's like concrete. You don't want to let them. You don't want to let them go out there and mess with it until it's hardened and dry. So we'll be doing this one over here on the far side next week as well. The far side playground, I noticed yesterday, has a couple of small holes starting in it. We have the same color we're fixing Harris-Saxon with. We'll come over here and we'll fix this one as well. So that's generally in a nutshell what I do and what we do without boring you all to tears. So we appreciate you all coming out and having shown an interest in this. It's nice to see that people care enough to come out here and listen to this. Like I said, I'd love to run some equipment for you, but I don't want to damage Tom's stuff. He'll kill me. So I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Manning now. Thank you all for your time. Did anybody have any questions, by the way? Go ahead, shoot.
What about the security at night with the parks? Are you?
We lock the parks up so the cars can't get in and out. Mind you, a lot of the parks, they have walkthroughs. So people can walk in the morning. If they get up at 5 in the morning, they want to walk the trail, there has to be a way for them to get in. So we have to leave an access, but the cars generally can't get in until 6 a.m. or somewhere around that time. You know, keep in mind there's 25 of them we have to open up. So somewhere in that gap between 4:30 and 6:30, they'll get opened. We have a priority list on which ones need to be opened first. As far as the kids are concerned, kids are going to be kids. You know, it's as long as they're not doing anything catastrophic, it's fine. We can replace it. We can fix it.
You have a lot of cameras?
We do. We do. We have a lot of cameras and pretty much most of these parks that have bathrooms, we have cameras on them.
Check them every
We do. We check. IT is constantly going around and checking these cameras. We're always taking the bucket truck out there and sending the bucket truck up, checking the ones on the poles, cleaning all the lenses. They do a good job. Man, he snuck up behind me pretty quick. Yeah, he is. He's very efficient, right? And underpaid too. I'm just going to say that. That's exactly right. So yes, to answer your question, we you know when major damage is done, we report it. We have the cops come out. They take we have this. I keep a stack of business cards so that when we have issues, we can go back and say, hey, Officer Ray came out and did this last time. You know, if necessary, we can pursue, a further extent with the cameras, assuming they can catch them. But it's tough to catch a kid in a hoodie,
Yeah.
It's dark out. He's got a hoodie on, They're not that stupid. But overall, it's easy to clean it up most of the time. They really don't do too much catastrophic damage, and we keep up with it pretty well. Like I said, most of the time you guys don't even know it happened because by the time you get in there and go to the bathroom, we've already attended to it. So I'm gonna turn you back over to Mr. Manning now. Oh, you got a question? No, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a general question.
Go ahead, shoot.
I also am outside a lot.
Yep.
I know that they've done some things, obviously with the canopies and whatnot, to help keep it cool. Is there anything that staff has thought of that was like, man, this would really help with keeping us cool during these hot months? That maybe hasn't been.
I mean, for our staff, yes, they've given us those little coolie things for your neck. What are they called?
The cool towels.
The cool towels. They're
The booty covers, the cover.
they
So pretty much anything that could.
anything that could be done is done. I mean, we pretty much keep everybody hydrated, and they're pretty good about that. I don't want anybody having a heat stroke any more than you do. But yeah, well, they do. They keep a pretty good handle on that. So Anybody else? Any other questions? That's it? All right, I'm going to give you back to Mr. Manning. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Sean. Yes, to answer your question, Brandy, about the heat. I know you've seen me out here in my sun hats before. Some of the other guys also want to wear those hats. Not everybody wears those. I like Mr. Pesch's hat as well. I think I might get one of those as well, simply because we want to protect ourselves from the sun as much as possible. To piggyback off your question about vandalism, yes, there is vandalism that happens at the parks. We're not going to lie about that. It seems to go in cycles. For instance, Sean mentioned a thing that happened a few weeks ago right before the kids got out of school over at one of the other parks where they tried to light the restroom on fire. We were able to identify those kids on the camera. The cops arrested those, and we will seek restitution from the parents for that. And then state's attorney's office will decide how they're going to do it. But it seems to go in cycles. Once they start to get out of school, it spikes for a week or two. As it gets really hot like it is now, it kind of levels off. We have July 4th coming up, a holiday. It'll spike again probably early next week, going into next weekend. Then it'll level off again, and right before they go back to school in late August or September, we'll have another spike in vandalism. That's just the way it works. Same thing during Christmas, Thanksgiving. Whenever they get out of school, they're looking for things to do. I don't know why, it's just the way it happens. It's not all the kids. There's only a select few that do this, so we don't want to paint everybody with a broad brush. But there are some kids that just like to destroy things. It's just the way it is. I don't understand it. We don't understand it. It's just the way it is. So, that being said, I hope you were paying attention when he was talking about the playgrounds. The class assignment will be this. We're all going to get up. Sean and Sean are going to take you over to the playground over there, the 5 to 12-year-old playground. You guys are going to get the opportunity to walk around it. If you see anything, such as, what are the one of the things he said? Loose screws, a loose railing, maybe the step is off center. If you see that, point that out. We have 5 T-shirts. So if you guys are ready to go over there, please take a water as you go. And we thank you for coming out, but we're going to walk over there now. And we have water in the cooler, so please make sure you grab a water. Okay, so if you guys walk around here, Sean and Sean will let you know. Where's Dave? I thought I saw Dave. If you see something, raise your hand, and they'll confirm or deny if that is actually something that needs to be looked at.
Hope so.
What do we got? What do we got?
Good deal.
What do you see? What does he see?
Found a loose bolt.
A loose bolt.
Yep,
all right.
good
What is
job.
your name, sir?
Zachary.
Zachary.
Good job, Zach.
Congratulations. Good job. You are now officially a member of the Parks and Rec Department. Thank you. One per person, though. So can only do one per person.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you got the tool? Yep. Let me tighten this back up. We got a winner on that one. Good eye, man.
Thank you.
Yes. It's come a long way since we did the first one.
Absolutely, yeah. I thought they were just going to repair the first one, then when I.
No.
That was
It's
real nice.
come a long way.
Very cool.
Somebody else got something? Anyone? John, Dave, anybody?
We're getting close.
We're getting close. Come on. We're good.
She did too.
Hi, Mom.
All right, what is your name?
She's got one.
You got Maria.
Maria, congratulations. You are now officially a member of the Parks and Recreation Department. Who else got one?
Right here.
All right. What did we
And this
find?
gentleman-
What did we find?
Loose bolt.
A loose bolt. Good job. You are now officially a member of Parks and Recreation.
And Mr. Bob right here, Mark.
You can wear it if
Right
you want.
here.
Mark.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Bob right, he got one too.
All right. What did you find? What did you find? Okay. All right, Sean. Got a loose bolt over here.
Yep.
I got one more shirt. Apparently we're missing one. We got one to go.
We all climb up everything too.
Are they getting close? John, we got one to go. We got, oh, Mr. President found it. All right, good job.
What's up?
All right, sir.
Pick one's found.
Congratulations. All right. What time? Ooh. Oh, man, they're going to be late. All right, everybody, if I can gather real quick here. I know, try and stay in the shade because it is hot. It's only 9 o'clock. All right. We want to thank you guys from the Parks Department for the Citizens Academy and coming out here and being good sports about this. We're thankful that you guys took the opportunity to do the class exercise. If you have any questions, you see us out in the field. Again, my name is Mark. This is Sean. Sean and Tom is the turf guy. Please feel free. Ask us any questions. It's better to have more eyes on the park than not. We can't get it at every park every day. So if you guys are out at the park and you see something on a playground, on a pavilion, in the bathroom that doesn't look right to you, call our office. Let us know. We try to do it in 24 to 36 hours to get it repaired or fixed. The more eyes we have on the park, the better the parks will be. So we want to thank you guys again for coming out. I know you guys are heading over to the water department or Public Works next. Take a water with you as you go. Stay hydrated. And again, we thank you. And if you guys want to drive back to your cars, Don and the crew will take you there as well. So again, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
All right.
I got a card here for anybody.
Good morning. My name is Glenn Whitcomb. I'm the Public Works Director here for the City of Deltona. I want to first of all introduce some of my staff that's here. We have Jim Parrish. He's our Water Wastewater Manager. We have Ton Wynn is our City Engineer. Behind Brandy we have William Geralds. He's our Customer Service Manager. Way back there underneath the tent we have Cameron Van Cleek. He's our Lead Operator of Water. Over here standing by the door is Phyllis Wallace. She's our Deputy Public Works Director. And then we have Shane Cherney. He's our Chief Water Operator. So welcome everybody. I'd like to welcome you to the Plant 11, what we call Plant 11 water plant. We're excited to have you here. We appreciate you coming out. I know that's a hot day, so we're going to try to get through this as quickly as we can. What we have in store for you today is a tour of the water plant. But first of all, I'm going to do a brief synopsis of our department. Public Works encompasses Deltona Water is under the umbrella of Public Works. And I need to put my glasses on real quick, sorry. In the Public Works Department itself, we have 6 divisions, admin, which that's what I'll fall under, and our administrative staff. We have traffic ops. We have field ops, we have fleet, we have engineering, and we have stormwater. Currently we have 66 positions filled with 5 open positions in that department in Public Works. Deltona Water is under the umbrella of Public Works, as I mentioned before. Deltona Water has 8 divisions. The first one will be admin. The second one is water operations, which you're going to meet part of that crew here this morning, here shortly. Fisher operations, which is one of our wastewater plants. Customer service, which Will runs. Field ops, Jeff is not here right now, but field ops, the Eastern wastewater plant, it includes our maintenance division. Our RIB site, which is our effluent disposal, our reclaim site that we have a treatment process on to augment. We treat stormwater and we augment reclaim. And then we have our lift station operation and maintenance division. So as you can see, we have quite a few divisions. As you can see, we have quite a few employees. So right now in Deltona Water, we have 70 positions that are filled at this time. We have 21 open positions at this time. As you well know, with this economy, it's very hard to get people, to get employees. You go through, y'all had a Citizens Academy with Human Resources, and you heard Rebecca talk about the challenges sometimes of recruiting employees. So we're always looking, just to let you know if you know anybody. A lot of our positions, especially field positions, are state license positions. These water operators are licensed by the state of Florida. I also happen to be one myself. So I enjoy working here. I enjoy doing what we do and serving the citizens of the city of Deltona. I've been here in Deltona just real briefly. I've been here, living here or working here since 1997. I worked with Deltona Water, or Florida Water, I'm sorry. Prior to that, I started out in this business in 1980. So if you can count, it's a pretty long time. Unfortunately, I can't count that high. But I moved here to Deltona in 1997. I was offered a position with a private utility to transfer from St. Augustine. Kind of missed that, but came down here, and the city bought us out in 2003. And I've been involved with the utility. I retired once and came back because I enjoyed it so much. I know a lot of people probably won't believe that, but it's the truth. Plus, it's a good place to work, has good benefits. We have a good team. If you look around at the different departments, I interact, I'm sorry, I get tongue-tied sometimes, but I interact with all the departments. Most of my staff does, the management team. We work with HR, we work with finance, we work with Parks and Recs, and I personally know them all. And which makes it nice if you need something in another department, everybody's getting together and helping each other as a team. And that's what we do in this department. And you can go around and ask our employees, the ones standing here and others, that's the way we treat people. We treat people with respect, and we also promote teamwork, training, to keep people trained on current rules and regulations that we have to follow. So let me briefly run through the rest of this so y'all can get your tour. Public Works side of the house, which Phyllis, her office is out there at 201 Helen Boulevard next to Walmart. They take care of roads, including potholes, drop-offs, striping, street signs. In fact, we have our own sign shop, and we started that when I was here the first time. And I'm very proud of that particular operation, because now we don't have to order street signs that are misspelled from other places. So now we have quality control, QA, QC, if you will. That was a very important thing that I wanted to get done when I was here before. When I came back in the field working with these guys right here that you're looking at. I came back in the field, came back as a water operator, and I learned some more things during that time. I've been doing this a long time, but I learned some new things, and you learn something new every day with this stuff. And that's one good thing about the Citizens Academy. It shows the citizens and some of our employees that don't get around. Because if you heard what I said a while ago, I didn't tell you, but we got a total of about 162 employees between Deltona Water and Public Works. That's quite a few, right? So, you get turnover, and sometimes you don't remember people or you don't know who they are. So I make it a point of walking out to the staff and introducing myself and talking to them for a couple of minutes. We do things like luncheons. Every now and then we'll do something like that for team building exercises, and I think it's very important. Let me finish up, I'm sorry. They do the street signs, traffic lights, medians. They take care of the medians like on Deltona Boulevard and Howland Boulevard. They pick up trash, trim trees. They pick up all the debris. They also handle fleet maintenance for all the vehicles and equipment within the city, including mowers, front-end loaders, backhoes, tractors, vac trucks, track hoes, skid steers, dump trucks, trailers, etc. You name it. And that doesn't include all the regular vehicles that we drive. You see the White City trucks running around with the logos on them, the city or Deltona Water. Sure.
That fleet also takes care of all your fire apparatus.
Exactly.
Which is a unique thing for the city of Deltona.
Right.
That they are certified, they are qualified, and they maintain all the fleet apparatus.
Correct. So just want to let you know, and we have I believe it's over 400 between vehicles and equipment. 400, 700. I'm sorry, 700. And a lot of that too, or part of that is our mowers that you see our mowers going down the road, cutting grass in the swells, etc. We have several of those. We have the gators that you see them picking trash up. So we have all kinds of equipment, and I do apologize about the fire department. Thank you. They are a very important part of our operation with the city. The fire department is. So when something goes wrong, our on-call tech, I get text at night on weekends, holidays, it don't matter. They'll let us know when they're going out on something with a fire truck, if there's an issue, a check engine light, a light out, or whatnot. We also are notified on our call outs for our general call out stuff, water breaks, all those things, so that we're aware of it, and we can take action as needed. The next department for Public Works is stormwater. They take care of the infrastructure, including catch basins, underground pipes that you can't really see in the ground. You drive down the road, you don't see them. They do swale mowing around the city, trash pickup also. They have pump stations that they have to maintain and check. They do repairs to facilities along with pipe replacements and new installs of pipe. Every now and then you'll see a project going on that the city's doing, out in the city somewhere, and our stormwater crews a lot of times are doing those. The only time that we get a contractor is we have a big job, and I know y'all may have heard me talk about the Northwest Drainage Project that's going on right now that we have a contractor working on. The next, let's see, also they mow ditches, canals, retention ponds, and they also, at times, they repair swales, including grading them off, regrading them, and putting sod in to make the water flow a certain direction. The next department, real quickly, is engineering. Our I don't know where he went, Ton Nguyen. He's a new addition to our staff. He's been a great asset. He's been very good, very helpful with these projects. We're still getting him up to speed on some things. The engineering department assists with development projects such as subdivisions, that type of thing. They do development review. They work on city capital projects that we have in place or that are going on, including but not limited to roads, stormwater, water main replacements, treatment plant expansions, and various studies. We're working on right now trying to get a consultant in for the Lake Teresa Basin study at this point. In fact, we have a meeting on that tomorrow morning. And then they also work on various other studies and capital improvement projects that we might have here at the city. Customer service, Will, around here somewhere. Yeah, Will. His department handles billing, payments, activation of new accounts, closing of old accounts. They assist customers with issues. They download meter readings and make sure that all the bills are being processed correctly. Let's see. Deltona Water has the plant operations crew that operates the water plants. And I'll let them go in more to that. I'm going to skip over that a little bit and let them have that portion. But these water plants have to be checked 7 days a week. And there's certain things, as you'll see in this tour, what they have to do as they check them. It's not just walking in the door, looking in, and turn around, walking out. There's a lot of readings you have to do, sampling that you have to do, reporting that you have to do. Wastewater plants, the same thing. We have 2 wastewater plants. Those are 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and the staff there is on site at least 16 hours to 20 hours a day. So as you can see, it takes quite a bit. At the wastewater plants, they actually have hourly sampling they have to do along with everything else. Field ops, we maintain over 575 miles of water distribution system. We do repairs, hydrant flushing, hydrant repairs, locates, meter reading, meter changeouts, meter installs, customer service work orders, backflow installation and testing, leak detection, and various other tasks. There's just too many tasks to list for this short presentation. And then whatever else they need to do, if they'll work with the operations team, they'll work with Public Works. If they need another vac truck out to do a job or a water main repair, we all work together. That's the good thing about being one department. It's big, but one thing about it, we have the resources and we can do a lot of stuff. So that makes a big difference. Our maintenance, our field ops team also maintains the collection system, which is the sewer system. You see the manholes out in the roads. There's thousands of manholes. We have 56 lift stations throughout the city. Each one of those lift stations has 2 pumps, 2 electric pumps in that lift station. So that's 112 pumps just in that. So if you look around this plant when you're doing this tour, you're going to see pumps, you're going to see motors, you're going to see electric panels. All those things our maintenance crew has to maintain. The rib site, I'm almost done here. The rib site, where our effluent disposal, we have a treatment process there that treats stormwater for augmentation to the reclaim to be sent out to customers that are on reclaim. Also, we use it to irrigate portions of Dewey Booster Park. That's a very important thing. And this is just a brief overview of what Public Works and Deltona Water does within the city. And now I'll turn it over to the staff to talk about operations and the tour plant itself. Sorry to bore you. Thank you. So now I want to introduce Mr. Jim Parrish. He just recently, I told you how many years I've been in this stuff since 1980. Jim's been in it for a while. He just got promoted to water wastewater manager, so he's a plant ops manager.
Thanks, Glenn. As Glenn said, my area of responsibility encompasses the water operations, the wastewater plant operations, which includes those 2 sewer plants, along with the rib site or the effluent disposal site. It also encompasses the lift stations that we have to maintain as well. He touched on the issue of the amount of open positions that we have. And one of the main reasons because of that is the people that work on your potable water, they have 2 main priorities. The first is the protection of your health. The second is the protection of the environment. So it takes a good deal of training to make sure that those folks are qualified to be able to do that for you. Approximately, kind of the way that goes is they have to do about 90 hours worth of college credit, or the equivalent to college credit, to even be qualified to sit for the state exam. After that point, they have to pass the state exam, and then after that, they have to have 2,080 hours as a trainee just to be able to work on this to make sure that your health and your safety is protected. So because it takes so long for that, there's a great shortage of qualified people to do that. So we have to make sure that we're selecting the right candidate with the correct qualifications to be able to ensure that we're doing the right thing for the public. Okay, so like I said, my main areas are around wastewater, the lift stations, as well as the potable water. And to let you know about the potable water side, Shane and Cameron are going to give y'all the pertinence and take y'all along the tour of the facility, okay? Cameron?
Well, we're in the middle. This project at the Lake Monroe boat ramp, what is going on there with the big holdup?
What?
I would have done the same thing. I would have done the same thing.
Like ever since the hurricanes, it all became completely static, I guess.
That a great segue. The Lake Monroe project, also known affectionately as the Straw Project or the 4B. At this point, we're evaluating discontinuing the project. We're working with St. Johns River Water Management District, DEP, along with other local agencies that we're involved with, the West Volusia Water Supplier Group, all those things to get this closed out. We've talked to in fact, I just had emails back and forth this morning with the contractor. So we're eager to get this taken care of and come up with other projects, because as you well know, our consumptive use permit, we have to have a certain amount of projects, alternative water projects in place. So we're working on another 10-year water supply plan at this time to identify projects that are reasonable that we can do. We want to make sure they're cost effective, that they're going to be effective alternative source of water. One of the things that we'll be looking at, which we're fixing to come to the commission the next meeting in July, about outfitting. We drilled 2 new wells right down the road here that's going to come into this plant. So that's coming to the commission for award a bid on that, and that takes 2 of the wells out of the Blue Spring shed. So we're important to try to get wells out and drill wells outside that spring shed. So that's one of the things we're doing. A lot of the other things have to do with reclaim expansion and those types of things. But I will turn it back over to my man, Cameron.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm not much of a public speaker, so if I fumble a little bit, I apologize right off the bat. I'm the lead water plant operator here at the City of Deltona. I've been here now since 2016. I've been in the field for 13 years, so I've been doing the water plants for quite a while. We have 12 active water plants in the city, so this is just one of our 12 plants. Not all the plants are the same. You'll notice behind us we have the tank over there. We only have about 10 tanks in the actual system, and there's 2 plants that have 2 each. So we have about 4 wells that go directly into the distribution system. So they're just a well in the ground, and they come up and send right out. But overall, it's 12 water plants, 23 wells. So this one on site has 3 wells, and as Glenn said, there's 2 more going on this one, so it will have 5. We also have about 35,000 service connections, with the population that we serve is about 79,900. Each thing we do as far as sampling and all that stuff depends on the population we serve. The next milestone is 80,000, so when we hit that, a lot of our sampling stuff is going to change up. It adds more and more stuff to check. Currently right now we take 80 bacteries per month, and it's all throughout the system. So it's 80 bacteriological samples, and basically it's just looking to make sure that the water, that the disinfectant that we use is effective and keeping everything safe. We also sample the wells monthly as well as quarterly samples. And then the operators themselves, like Glenn said, it's 7 days a week, and they are constantly doing samples every day at all of these plants. So it's residual samples, making sure that everything is in line with FDEP and DOH's guidelines, and then making sure that everything leaving the plant is the highest quality they can put out. Okay. As far as the distribution system, the operators don't really work on that much unless, you know, we're needed for help with the field guys. As far as that, you guys want to start doing the tour? So we'll start walking around and we'll kind of point out all the plant stuff.
I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
For upper management. You mentioned having troubles hiring people. Has the city looked into doing an apprentice program where you can train your...
Yes, sir. And matter of fact, some of the personnel that are standing here, this one right here was a product of that. He was a trainee. He started with the city, I want to say in 2015. And that's when I came back out of retirement, was the time he started. And he started as a trainee in the field, or wastewater, and he is now an A licensed operator. So it takes several years to get to that point. Also Cameron, wherever Cameron went, Cameron started out the same way. He didn't start with the city of Deltona, but he was in Orange City. And in fact, we just recruited another one of his ex-co-workers over there. I won't mention anything else other than that. But it's very hard to get people that want to stay with it, to do the training, to do the schooling, and then to put in the time as a trainee. Because obviously a trainee doesn't, his pay is not quite as much as an operator would be. So sometimes people, they got to be dedicated to do this. Same thing with our distribution system. Those guys, every one of those guys are state licensed also. So they have to go through not as much as the treatment plant operators as far as the prerequisite training, but quite a bit. And then they have to go, and I don't know if y'all mentioned this, but every 2 years they have to have a certain amount of continuing education units to maintain them licenses. Besides paying the state, you know, the fee, they have to take this training, have to do this training. And with that said, Cameron, Jim, and myself are all instructors for water classes. Cameron and I do a lot of backflow. Jim and I do a lot of collection system stuff. So that helps keep us tuned up, and we encourage our employees to do the same thing and to be able to you know, get up and teach classes for our own employees and other cities and counties as well, because that keeps us up on the up-to-date stuff that's going on, you know, with the rules and regulations and that. So you can have another time at the end. Okay. All right.
We also, just to kind of expand on that, not only besides what Glenn just mentioned, we also network with the FWPCOA that Glenn was talking about, and we also do recruitment efforts to try to bring those hard-to-find operators into our service areas so that we can utilize their expertise with our own utility. Okay? All right. I think we're going inside with Cameron.
So this is our high service pump room. All of these pumps here are actually what feed the distribution system itself. So this is actually what's the finished water. This is what's coming out of the tank. So at the moment, we run about one high service pump at a time, but as you can see, there's multiple ones for redundancy. In case something happens to one while it's down there working on it, the other one can run. Everything's also run off of a PLC, or a programming logic controller, is inside. It's like basically a computer that tells which pump to run and at what speed to run at to keep pressure. That PLC also reads back to SCADA, which is our monitoring system. It monitors the plants, the residuals, the pressure in the system 24 hours a day. If any residual goes a little bit high or a little bit low, the pressure gets out of whack, it sends an alarm to one of the operators that are on call. They come out on site and they'll adjust the pumps if need be, they'll adjust the chemical pumps, and all of that we'll kind of walk through the plant and see. But yeah, this is the finished water high service pumps. Outside, we'll go over the wells too, kind of where the water's coming out of. But if you guys come down this way. Inside this room, as you guys come by, we can look in and stuff. I don't know if we all want to cram in there, but that's our motor control center. So that's where the PLC is, the computer that runs the whole plant. All of the VFDs that run these pumps are all on those walls. So our maintenance staff, our electrician, he's always busy with the plants like this. It's high voltage power. It's all 480 3-phase, so it's a lot of stuff to take on. Down this way. That room is air conditioned, keeps all the equipment cool. We have to suffer out here with no air conditioning. This room is just our parts room and everything. The logbooks are in here. So the operators have to hit the plants every day. They also have to keep a log of everything they did. They have to come in and log down all the meters they read. They have to log all of the chemical residuals they pulled. If they made an adjustment at the plant, if they turned one of these pumps up 2% to run a little higher, that has to go in that logbook, and that logbook is inspected by the Volusia County Department of Health every sanitary survey they do. So they come by, they flip through all your logbooks, they check all your chemicals, and they make sure everything's, where it should be. Okay. This last room in here is our chemical pump room. If you guys want to step in and step back out, it's basically the big tank is our sodium hypochlorite. That's the main disinfectant that goes into the water. And then there's pumps along the wall on this side. They are peristaltic pumps. They are what pump the chemical up to the tank. So if you guys want to step in and take a look. We pump sodium hypochlorite as the main disinfectant. And then in 2015, they started the chloramine project, which chloramines is the addition of ammonia to it. To control any disinfectant byproducts. So it's to control the THMs and the HAA5s in the water. So chlorine by itself mixes with organics and it can grow the trihalomethanes. Adding the addition of ammonia cuts that reaction. Chloramines is a longer lasting disinfectant. It lasts a lot longer in the system, but it's not as strong as free chlorine. So when they were running free chlorine in the system was prior to my coming here, but the residual was always a little bit lower because it was a stronger disinfectant. If you checked it in the system now, we like to keep it between a 3 and a 3.5, just for that added control of the disinfectant. So we run it a little bit higher just to make sure it's safe. We step outside, we'll look at the tank, and then we'll go over to the wells, and we'll talk about the wells and the ammonia pumps over there, okay? So we can go out this way and right around the side. And no more echo. Yeah, everything's off right now. we put all the wells off and all the high service pumps off. Normally it's a little bit louder. Wouldn't have been able to do the microphone and everything with it. So there's nothing actually running at this plant at the moment. And that's one of the benefits of having as many plants as we do, is I was able to turn this plant off and the plant right down the road picked up the pressure.
So how long does it take you to turn it back on?
So all it is a few HOA switches in there just for the wells. So the computer runs everything as far as the levels it turns on. So I just have to go back in and it's about 10 switches.
Wow.
Go in, put them back in auto, make sure everything's kind of reading right, and then it'll be back online. This tank behind me, this is one of the tanks in the system. This one's 1 million gallons. So this one holds 1 million gallons of water. If you look, you see the yellow line going up. That's our chlorine. So those pumps on the inside, it pumps the chlorine up to the top, and we chlorinate right at the top of the aerator. So the water comes in from the wells, it goes to the aerator to take out a lot of that hydrogen sulfide and that other stuff. And then it gets hit with chlorine. It drops down into 2 big downcombers in the tank. So it doesn't fall directly into the tank. It actually goes through a piping network in the tank before it gets hit with ammonia. And then it goes through a static mixer and gets released into the tank. Then it sits in the tank before it gets pumped out by the high service pumps. Okay. Over this way is one of our wells. We'll walk over to that one. Chase Phyllis down. There's this shade right here, and then get everybody into the shade and out of the sun. Whew. All right, so this is one of 3 wells on site. You have 39 is this number. This one over here is our well number 37. The depth varies on all these wells. The total depth drilled on this one's actually 300 foot, and the pump itself is set at about 150. This well behind me is about 212 foot total depth, and the pump's set about 120. And then you have that well in the building over there, which is our well 21. That one's about the same as this one, 200 foot deep, pump set at 120. The static water level in this area, where the groundwater likes to sit, runs about 30 feet. And we have an operator, he's one of our samplers actually. He goes around, does all the samples in the city. He does drawdowns quarterly on all of these wells. So he has a well sounder, goes down, checks the static water level, turns the well on to make sure what the drawdown is of that water, to make sure what we're pumping and staying pretty average from every other quarter, okay? So as you can see, it comes out. All 3 wells meet right by that tent and head up into the tank, okay? So that's kind of how the water comes up. Pump it straight out of the ground and it goes right up into the tank. So it's a pretty normal treatment for the state of Florida. It's usually only groundwater coming out, not a lot of surface water in the state of Florida that gets treated. So treatment's a little bit different from up north. You guys have any questions on the wells or the treatment?
You said you're adding 2 additional wells to this site.
Yes, sir.
That's to get them out of the water table that's down by Lake Monroe?
Yeah, so the Blue Springs watershed encompasses all the way out to about the Fort Smith, Cortland area. That's actually right where the border ends. So we're just outside of that, being over there on Roland. FDEP wants everybody to start pushing out of that Blue Springs watershed, so we're not pulling the water from what's flowing towards Blue Springs. At the moment, everything inside the city is inside the Blue Springs watershed. So they either want you to go deeper into the ground or move the wells outside. Okay? Yes?
I know you have a lot of computers to analyze the water quality. Does anybody, a human being, ever taste it? You have water tastings?
I mean, you could taste the water if you wanted to. I drink the water from all of these plants. There's spigots right here on the side, but I usually fill up right inside, right where my analyzers are. There's because that's coming. You see these blue lines? It's coming directly out of the tank. Goes right to the analyzers on the inside, and that's where we drink. We've also gone to the best tasting water competition. Really? So Seminole County, I believe, won that one. But yeah, we took a certain plant, we took it to the best tasting water, and we all sat down, and they had blind judges taste the water and do everything. So we do that kind of stuff, and it's fun. It's good to do.
This is going to sound stupid, but is this the water that goes to my house?
Depends on where you live, but yes.
Well, but
this is the water, yes.
Household water.
Yes. Yeah, it's potable water. This is what's going to come out of your shower, faucet, garden hose.
And it's underground pipes.
Yep. So once it leaves that high service pump, you see that pipe there? As soon as it hits the ground, it exits it straight out of the fence and hits all the network of piping. And I believe there's 515 miles of distribution pipe in Deltona. 575. I was 60 off. So, but yeah, this is the water.
I got one comment I'd like to make. Cameron talks about going to the best water tasting contest. Well, we have a group of employees here, including myself, and Cameron, and a couple of others that are not on this tour right now, that were in a thing called Top Ops competition. We won the state competition 7 years in a row, and we won the nationals 3 times. And what that is a Jeopardy-style game, or if you will, competition. And we're at a big water show, a big conference, and you have to answer the most questions correctly. If you answer one wrong, they take points away from you. So we used to do that. I haven't done it in a long time because I'm getting a little older and tired. But yes, just to let you know, we've been around and we were the best in the country for 3 years, 3 different times. So just to let you know. And we really take pride in our jobs here. It may not look like it sometimes because we get stressed, you know, just like everybody else. We're out here today in the heat, and you all have worked in your lives, I'm sure, and you know how it is. But when you take pride in what you do, like these gentlemen here do, it makes it a lot nicer and a lot easier. And they are concerned about the safety and the health and welfare of the citizens of Deltona. Yes. Yes.
I'd like to just on your comment about the tasting. I currently live. I'm a 20-year Deltona resident. I live in between 3 different plants, so I get water from 3 different. To my house, I get drinking water from 3 different locations. Because I'm so confident in the water quality that comes out, I drink the water unfiltered because I know that the quality is that good. My wife has a very, very distinct palate where she can detect very subtle differences in the water. She works in DeLand. She has me bottle 5 gallons at a time out of our tap, unfiltered, and she takes that to her work because she actually enjoys the taste of Deltona water better than DeLand, bottled water, all other types of water. So you can definitely tell a distinct flavor and difference between the water from where you go in a city or from city to city and areas to different areas in the state. So, yes, Brandy.
All right, so I'm sure you've heard the talk about the EWG's report. They updated the 2020 report, and for those who aren't familiar, EWG stands for Environmental Working Group, which is under the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. And they had some concerns with our groundwater. Is my question there, because obviously legal doesn't necessarily mean safe, but my question is, are their guidelines just unrealistic and so it makes it look way off base? Or are we ever going to maybe look at trying to meet their requirements and their guidelines? Is that even doable?
Great question, and I appreciate your concern over that. EWG is actually not affiliated with the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. EWG has their own set of standards. Our standards are governed by the Environmental Protection Agency, Florida Department of Health, and the FDEP. Those standards they're the authoritative standards whenever it comes to the state of Florida. Now, EWG, they have much stricter standards. I mean, very, very strict standards, but those are not governed by any state authority. They're a group that is trying to have better quality water, of course. They're located, I believe, out of Washington, D.C. Since about 1993 is whenever they started. They're trying to get some better standards, but those are not the standards that we're governed by from Department of Health, like I said, FDP and St. John's Water Management District. So while they have much higher standards, even though that's the standards that they have, those are not what we have to go by, but doing better is always something to strive towards. Absolutely, it's better to strive towards. Without some really, really, really expensive membrane filtration or some other type of process, a lot of those constituents are naturally found in groundwater or in the aquifer. Say, for example, like fluoride. Fluoride is something that some municipalities inject into their water, but it's also found naturally in the water. So there are constituents that are naturally in there that that we would have to have some different technologies to remove. But as far as the study that has come out from EWG, we're not in any sort of violation of FDEP or anything like that. We're above and beyond board of what we're supposed to be attaining for your public health. Okay, great question though. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. That was a good job. Any other questions? If y'all want to hang around for just a few more minutes, maybe 5 more minutes, camera's going to go through a sampling process real quick. Anybody who's interested. If not, we appreciate y'all coming and listening to us and asking these great questions. Brandy, that was a good question that's been going around lately. In fact, I had a conversation with Volusia County about the same thing yesterday. So we do appreciate it again. Thank you very much for coming. Again, if you want to hang around, and he's going to go back inside and do some sampling real quick. Thank you.
I have one question for you. I can ask it now or whatever, but you were talking about the swales and the cleaning of the swells. At 3121 St. James, there's a swell that's, the ones off White Horse and all that have been done, but that swell in particular hasn't been done, and it would have been like a very important piece during Ian. Is there any plans? I understand that maybe there's some issues with the piping and maybe some rock needing done. Is there any plans on getting that done before heavy storms start coming? Put it on my list. There's 3121 St. James. Yep, appreciate it.
Sorry, the phones ring even when you're doing this stuff. If there's any other questions? Okay. Well, again, we appreciate you coming. We thank you for your participation. We really feel that this Citizens Academy is a good thing. I know I have watched a lot of the videos, and I've seen Suzette in action, and she does a great job, along with all the departments that have been up there. And I think next week we have the fire department and we have the sheriff's department next week. And some of us will be up at City Hall for displaying of some equipment that we have. So thank you very much.
All right. So basically, these are our online monitors. They're the ones that read back the data. They read 24/7 to the plant. These are the ones that we monitor, make sure the residuals are good. The reason the operators have to run it every day is to make sure the calibration stays well. So I can actually get in and calibrate this one based on my handheld meter, which are calibrated monthly with standards that are sent to us from POC, who we buy these from. So these are calibrated monthly to make sure that they're reading correctly. And based off the handheld, we can calibrate these to make sure they're reading correctly. Make sure everything's always up to par. The 3 samples, and then this one here as well, is the orthophosphate, which is a corrosion inhibitor that is added to the water. Coats the pipes to make sure the corrosion isn't as bad. My chlorine, or sodium hypochlorite, and then my monochloramines, which is the addition of the ammonia, which turns into monochloramines. Basically, each one has a certain level on it. You have to fill it up to that level. Each one has a different time frame that the reagent has to be inside of it. So for the PO4 or the orthophosphate one, it's 2 minutes that the reagent actually has to sit in the water to get it to the right level. So basically we zero it out to make sure that it's reading a good blank. And then that's just going to sit in there for 2 minutes. And as we wait in 2 minutes, it'll change its color. So for orthophosphate, you're looking for a blue, is what the reagent actually turns that one. When I do the chlorine sample, that one will look for a pink color. It'll turn like a pink. And then the monochloramine is look for a green. So it turns into a green color. And also, so same thing with the chlorine one, we have to zero it out. And then, like I mentioned earlier, we run the chlorine, the monochloramine residual up over a 3. So we always have to do like a high range sample which with the equipment, instead of just doing one packet, we do two. And instead of keeping it at the 10 milliliter mark, we actually have to cut the water in half so there's enough reagent to draw it all out. And that one actually has to sit for 3 minutes. And then the last one, like I said, is the monochloramines. And we also, there's 2 bottles for this one because with monochloramines, the addition of ammonia doesn't degrade in the system. Chlorine does degrade as over time, but the ammonia stays around. So you're always checking for free available ammonia to know when you have to flush the system or anything like that. So you see those guys out there with the blue boxes on the back of their truck? That's what they're doing. They're out flushing the system to make sure that the water quality is turning over. As long as the area is not turning over fast enough, then you might get a little bit of a buildup of free available ammonia, and then that's when we're out there flushing it. The operators have remote taps they check constantly for each plant, and then the sampler also checks it when he's doing his 80 samples. So that's all throughout the system. So free available. Actually, let's get a drop first. And that has to go for 1 minute before I can put the reagents in. So I can read the PO4 now. So once it finishes up its reading, it kicks it out. So about a 1.9, and this all reads in parts per million. So it'd be parts per million or milligrams per liter. So that's the amount of orthophosphate that's in the water leaving the plant. Okay. We usually like to keep it between about a 1.5 and like a 2.5. So that's where we shoot for it at. Almost time for the chlorine. So this one I'm going to check to make sure that it's matching up because this is my total chlorine reading that's going out right now. So with the handheld, I'm making sure that it's within 10% is what it has to be. If it's outside of the 10%, then we calibrate it. With the plant being off, the water flow is not the same as with the high service pump running. So that can throw off your samples as far as that. Whenever the operators are here, the wells and the high service pump have to be running while they're checking everything. They can't run it like this where it's all down because this isn't representative of what's actually being pushed out. So. So got a 3.17 up there, and on the handheld I got a 3.1. So well within the toleration of it. And like I said, with the mono and the free available, you're looking for a green color. And it'll start out like this nice light yellow, and it'll slowly darken to the green color that you're looking for.
And you do this every day?
Every day. So the operators actually have to run all those samples against each one of these. The one behind you guys is the free chlorine. That is the first initial chlorine level that goes into the tank. And the city itself is 4-log. So 4-log is the type of virus inactivation that it is. 4-log stands for 99.99% inactivation. So it kills all bacteria and viruses up to 99.99. So that's done through the chlorine level and how long it's in contact before it meets the ammonia.
And as he was saying, you have to repeat this process to be one of the analyzers, so it takes a little while.
Yeah.
And do these stop running all day every day, or is there
Yes. These ones constantly continue to run. That way, once you do start it up, you're not waiting for all that line to clear, coming all the way from the tank. It's surprising how long those little 3/4 inch lines will take to clear. You start it up and then turn it back on. These type of probes also, they don't use any chemicals. They're ampermetric titration. So it's actually like a voltage in there that reads the chlorine level. So they have to have continuous flow or they'll go bad. It's kind of a step up from the old monitoring systems that kind of mix the chemicals together and could be off on the mixture. And these ones are a lot more accurate.
And we've made those changes throughout the plants. We've added these, we had the ones for the total chlorine. We added these ones for the free because you have to buy buckets of 2 different chemicals to use those. And they were a maintenance nightmare. So we got our heads together and said, we'll do the capital cost to do it because it saves us a lot of time. So sometimes you can repair one of the old ones and it might take you an hour or 2 hours, just depending on you change the part. This is a lot easier. Just pull the probe out, probe the typical probe, and move on.
So on the mono, 2.9 is whenever you're running monochlorines, you get your total chlorine residual, you always want your mono to be relatively close. So if I was to take the residual and instead of being like a 2.9, it was like a 1.0, you're into a different species of chloramines. You could be into di and trichloramines, which gives taste and odors. So if you ever smelled like Blue Springs, when you go to Blue Springs, you get that musty smell. If you go to that di-trichloramine, that's the smell that comes out. So they always make sure that their mono is within the right range. And if I was to get like a 1.0 on my mono, I'd go into that building right there, which is our ammonia pumps, and I would up the addition of ammonia. And the way the ammonia is dosed is based on our free chlorine residual. So that's how they base everything when they're in your building. Okay? You guys have any questions on the samples or anything?
Good job, Ken. All right?
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Y'all have a great day. Thank you.